there. You can check him out on the Daily Slog. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Pinchas Levinson, everybody.
Thank you. Ari, please. Big round for Ari. Great. Welcome, welcome. I understand we're a mixture here. Some tourists, some locals, some wannabes, and we hope to have a good time tonight. Did anybody actually party last night? I didn't hear. Anybody party? No, not a little bit, kind of. Well, I'm from Rehovot, and we had some parties we went to, and my wife went home a little bit earlier than I, and I was coming home at around 4 in the morning. And this cop stops me, and he says, so what are you doing here at 4 in the morning? So I said, well, I'm going to a lecture. And he says, lecture? Who gives lectures at 4 in the morning? I said, come to my house, you can hear my wife. That was the kind of lecture that I get. We used to exchange presents on New Year's Eve, and so about a week before, my wife said to me, I had this dream that you were going to give me a diamond ring on New Year's Eve. Don't worry, it'll all become clear to you, right? So New Year's Eve came, and I give her the present, and she opens it up, and there it is. Sigmund Freud, the interpretation of dreams. So whatever, hopefully she found out what was going on. Now, usually I give her like 3 tickets to a movie on New Year's, and she says, well, why 3 tickets? I said, well, for you and your parents, So. Anyway, what I usually wish people is that your resolutions should last as long as your troubles, because most people aren't very good on their resolutions. And in fact, the 2 guys are talking, and the one says, after New Year's, can I have a cigarette? And his friend says, well, I thought you were giving up cigarettes for New Year's. And he says, well, I'm in the first phase. Well, what's that? No, I stopped buying them, whatever. People do what they can. And for a while I was in New York, and New York's got a great holiday season. You used to get to see the red and green hot dogs. You get to see the carjacking carolers. If you got to see Michael Bloomberg as a snow elf if you were there this year. Here, we don't get too much in the Christmas spirit. Right, last week was Christmas, right? Which is a really weird holiday because it's mostly Jewish retailers, thinking what a friend we have in baby Jesus, because it's not really. The Puritans abolished it the whole bit, and then of course at the center of this holiday is Santa Claus, right? And it is really not a 21st century kind of figure, right? He's an old fat guy with a white beard, and he's got bad labor practices, and he abuses animals. Of course, why is he always smiling? Because he knows where all the bad boys and girls live, the whole thing's a little bit creepy, Actually, that brings one joke up, is that what you get if you cross a pickle with a reindeer. You get a dildo, right? Okay, anyway. But it's not a bad holiday. It's just sort of it's sort of weird, and we're happy where it's all behind us now. The 7-Eleven came up with a special wine for this holiday, right? Which is great for the guy who's got nothing. Or for the people who think it's pretentious to buy their wine in Walmart. They go buy it in the 7-Eleven. Actually, I like the word pretentious. My favorite 2-word joke. Ready? Pretentious, moi. Anyway, there are great 3-word jokes too, right? The sadist says to the masochist, hurt me, right? And the sadist says, no. Anybody out there? Okay, anyway. They go over better on YouTube. And but times are tough in America now. Obama met with these 60 Indian tribe leaders, and times are so bad that he said he's giving the country back, but of course they didn't want it. It's bad news. The security officials are worried, that Al-Qaeda said they're going to poison America through all the salad bars, right? But of course Sizzler beat them to it, so there was not much left. And it's a tough time. Of course, America just had a census, right? You guys know this. The population was up 9.7%. The waistlines are up 42 inches. There are 308 million people. Maybe a little bit more than half of them are Americans. It's a tough time. And right, you guys flew. I understand you beat the snow, but it's really pretty grim out there. And 2010 is going to be remembered as the time you didn't want to travel. They had in Germany recently. They had everybody was snowed in, right? So they bring this clown into the airport. Okay. Needless to say, he didn't come out alive. Nobody is happy to travel now. It's so cold now at these airports. People go in just to get a pat down. I don't know about you guys. This whole TSA thing, it's really pretty weird. The people Well, of course, right. At my age, I don't really mind. I haven't seen this much action since high school, but it's really, for most people, it's really kind of weird. It's not so bad until the guy says, "Now you do me." Then it gets a little, you wonder, do you tip these people? What exactly goes on with this whole shtick? And then, of course, out in L.A. At LAX, right, the TSA people formed a choir, okay, which of course answers the question of how could air travel get any worse, right? You get to hear these guys singing, and but the singing, there's a new show on Broadway, right, or it hasn't yet hit Broadway. It's called Spider-Man, and so I don't know if you guys are following some of the most expensive Broadway show ever put together, and it's not even there yet. And so one of the main things is that this actor comes flying out with this boom, right, and he goes 30 feet into the audience, and 4 times now the actor has crashed into the people, right? So, no, but and one of the actresses left. But anyway, but the bottom line was that they're going to change the name of this to Jackass 4 because it's just not going to make it to Broadway at this rate. But speaking of musicals, the U.S. Army, or rather, pardon me, the Senate passed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell law, which now allows openly gay people to serve in the Army. So, of course, it brings to mind what's the Pentagon's next plan is to do, of course, Iraq the musical. So for many people, this is not so bad. Now that you can be openly gay, if you're happy, fine. For those who didn't wanted to be gay to get out of the army, it's not so great. But for some people, it's okay. And then, of course, here in Israel, we have our own army issues. Eli Yishai, he's the finance minister. He's the interior minister, and he is the one holding up. I don't know how much you know of Israeli politics, but there's a bill to allow the army rabbis to have the final say on conversion. Okay, so Yishai, he's a nice guy. He says, okay, you know what? I'll let you be Jewish throughout your army service. Okay, this was his big compromise. And of course, the soldiers say, well, you know what? We're going to wait until after Sylvester to go through this process, right? Sylvester. Is Sylvester's, right? The guy who says "Suffering Succotash." No, Sylvester was the holiday that we just had yesterday. Anyway, they're going to wait till after the 1st, if they don't have to worry about their conversion. And of course, the man pushing this is Avigdor Lieberman, Yvette Lieberman, pardon me. And he says, you don't support this bill, I'm going to give each one of you a brit milah. And we're, so of course Yishai is also in charge of the fire department, right? And we had this disaster here, you guys know, on the Carmel Mountain, just burned totally to the ground. Okay, it was his responsibility, and he just blew it from the get-go. So of course you think, well, how are we going to restore the Carmel? No. His problem or his concern is how is he going to restore the image of Eli Yishai? Okay, and I want you guys to know, you heard this first here, that the new slogan is, how's it go? It goes, "Black is the new green," right? That's, it shows you how hip the Haredim can be. It's how quickly we're going to be restoring the Carmel Mountain. So anyway, you heard it here first, as if you'll ever hear it again. So, and then, of course, Israel's a great place. We have the first Western Wall page in Facebook. I don't know if any of you have been there, but of course, since we have this now, the rabbis say, well, since this is here, you can't surf in your underwear, like of course most of us do. So, it just changed everyone's habits, and so whatever. And this year Facebook passed Google, right? In a very narrow sort of metric, but anyway, they claimed it, and appropriately Mark Zuckerberg got Man of the Year award in Time, right? So of course, anyone know why he got Man of the Year award in Time? Well, largely, the obvious answer, because he devised a new way for because he devised a way for people to waste time at work. I mean, that's the goal of modern society. Then we had a series of letters from rabbis and rebbitzins, right? The rabbis wrote, "Don't sell to Arabs, don't rent to Arabs," and the rebbitzins wrote a letter, "Don't go out with Arabs and don't marry them." And people, wow, everyone's paranoid or something. So in the end, the rebbe says, no, we just told them that because they can't find an apartment when they get married. That's the following of that one. And Netanyahu's press secretary left this week. He's had a whole series of defections of people from his staff. It was kind of sad because, the one guy who knew how to search for something in Google's gone, but he went to a company that is going to manage shipping, right? Of course, and if you know how well they managed the Marmarik incident, it was just a perfect fit for everyone involved. And of course, in Kadima, they're only too happy to see people shuffling. They just want, of course, shuffle Netanyahu out the door. And this week, MKs, right, with members of Knesset, finally got what are called smartphones, okay? They got their choice of either Blackberries or iPods, and of course this is so that, when you call your member of Knesset, you know that something smart will be at the other end of the line, whether it's the person or the... And of course the police are very happy because now they can be sure to get the fingerprints of all the Knesset members, and the Haredim said, well, don't worry, we won't get too close, no touching, that's our sort of stick. And Katsav, everyone know our illustrious or infamous 8th president, Moshe Katsav. I mean, there isn't too much funny to talk about in this. The only mildly amusing thing was that he, upon hearing the conviction, he called up his wife Gila and he said, don't we have some spare pardons somewhere in one of those closets that we can use for me? Yeah. And it's a tough time for him. It's a tough time for all of us. Saddam Hussein wrote a Quran with 27 pints of his blood that came out. Pretty weird. I guess he can't desecrate a Quran, so that's going to hang out for a while. But of course, this answers the question: why did he have so many clones? Because 27 pints, you don't come by too easy. And then, but we had New Year's today, and in the end, Jews aren't really big drinkers. I don't know if you've... I don't know what your theories are on that. I think it's largely because it interferes with the suffering, right? We like to drink, but we like to suffer even more, But I have a neighbor named Muki, who's an amazing guy. His parents came over on a camel from Kurdistan, and he, though, is a big drinker, right? He is a classic drinker. He can drink the table under the table. He drinks in between drinks, His favorite drink is his next drink. And he is really. You got to come to Rehovot. We have great times with that, But bars are a great place for humor, right? For a while I was a bartender. This guy comes in and he says, I'd like to order 3 beers. Okay, what do I care? He takes his 3 beers, sits down, and drinks them down by himself. So it comes time to pay, and. So, I tell him, well, why don't you have them sequentially? They won't get flat, they won't get warm. And he says, no, you don't understand. I've got 2 brothers, whatever, one in Los Angeles, one in Seattle. Each time we come to a bar, it's like we're drinking together. Okay, I care. So week after week, he comes in, orders his 3 beers. One week he comes in and orders 2 beers. So he said, sorry to hear about your brother. And he says, brother, what happened to brother? Well, usually 3 beers this week, you order 2 beers. No, he says, you don't understand. I've given up drinking. Anyway, but there are good. There are a lot of good bar jokes out there. Just one other. It's such a lively crowd. The Englishman, the Irishman, and the Scotsman, right, go up to the bar, okay, and the fly lands in the Englishman's beer, and he pushes it away, right, and the fly lands in the Irishman's beer, and he drinks it right down, right, and the fly lands in the Scotsman's beer, and he picks it up by the wings, and he says, spit it out, spit it out. Anyway, yeah. No, okay. We have a lot. Okay, a little response out there on YouTube. Right? The Irishmen are great. You can make lots of jokes about Irishmen. What is the difference between an Irish wedding and an Irish wake? Right, one less drunk. No. What do you call a quadriplegic Irishman sitting on the porch? Patio furniture? No. You guys are a tough audience, yo. Anyway, guy, a dyslexic walks into a bra. There's a million jokes out there. The 3-legged dog hobbles in, and he says, "I'm looking for the man who shot my paw," or I don't know, or the goldfish flops in, and the barman says, "What do you want?" He says, "Water." No, nothing. None of these jokes. Well, you guys don't go to enough bars. The yogurt carton comes in. We don't serve yogurt cartons. Why not? I'm cultured, Or the tiger comes in. He says, I'll have a scotch, some peanuts. The barman says, why the long pause? Or there are a lot more intelligent bar jokes if you're a scientist, right? The neutron walks into the bar and he says, how much? And the barman says, well, for you, no charge. She kills the other chicken to make chicken soup to help the one get better. Anyway, thank you very much. You've been a lovely audience. Pinchas Levinson, Daily Slog.